Alright tubes, what is going on? We got something pretty interesting here for you today. I was trying to brainstorm an idea of something to do for you guys, something different from what I've been doing as of late. And it just so happens that I got the house to myself today, and it got me thinking. It reminded me, back when I was growing up, back when I was first starting out my YouTube channel, I used to have a lot of time to myself. And some of you guys may recall when I was first starting out here on YouTube, a lot of times what I would do is I would make a YouTube video of me trying to start one of my hit and miss engines. So I think we're going to try and start an engine here, and it should be pretty good actually, because my interest in hit and miss engines has sort of waned over the years, and so all of my engines have been sitting for, I'll have to figure it out, but I would estimate probably over 5 years. Alright, so we're out here in the shed, or the mausoleum, depending on how you want to look at it, but there's actually a lot of memories out here. A number of different engines that anyone who has been on this channel for a very, very long time will probably remember. This is my Maytag 92, which I definitely have a video of that from probably 9 years ago. Then below it we got the Fuller & Johnson, which is actually my father's engine, but it's a 1926, and it was actually my first video ever I made of starting that thing. And then finally, this is I think the engine we're going to try and start today. This is my my Ideal. And I can't really remember what year it is. I'll have to check my videos of it that I made in the past and see if I can come up with a year on it, but either way, you can't really see a whole lot in here, and the lighting's not particularly good, so I think I'm going to try and get this thing out into the open, and then we'll get a closer look at it. So here's the engine as it sits, and really doesn't look too bad for having sitting in the shed as long as it did, but I guess it was inside of a shed. You never know with that though. Actually, I'm pretty surprised there's not like a squirrel living in there, or this battery box here. I haven't even opened that. There's probably a wasp nest in it. Looks alright. That's our little cigar box battery slash buzz coil box that we made. That battery I'm sure is completely dead. I probably should put that on a charger and see if I can revive it, but if not, we got another one we can hook up to it. And then we also made this cart. Now I don't remember the exact history on this cart. I know it's a Road King cart. He definitely helped a lot with constructing that. However, I can't remember if he completely built that or if I did assist with it, because I know he made a couple of carts for us. So I don't really remember the exact backstory on this particular one. But basically what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take this battery and I'm going to put it on a trickle charger, and I'll just hook up another one for the time being to see if we can start it. And then I'm also going to go and get some oil, so that way we can lubricate up all of these rollers and gears and slides and guides and valves, and get this thing ready to rock and roll. Alright, so I just went over most of this with my oil can. I'm not going to actually do it on camera, only because some of this requires two hands, but just to give the idea of what I did here is I oiled both the valve guides here, whatever you'd like to call them. They have a little hole in them. So what you do is you put oil in that, and then what I do is I just work the valve a little bit, and that way you get the valve stem pretty well lubricated. Then I also came around, covered this surface right here, because that's that rod slides through there, and then you have something similar that goes on right back here. So we lubricated that, lubricated our gears here. This roller right here slides on this cam, and then the cam actually has a hole right there for oil. So we took care of that, took care of this little pivot point right here, and then our governor weights right here, they pivot on this point here, and of course they also have a spot for oil. So we went ahead and took care of that. Looks like we got a decent amount of oil in our oiler here, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. So the only other thing that you need to do here is fill it up with some fuel, and I don't think I'm going to put water in it immediately. Once we get it running, then I'll fill it up, but for the time being, we can do it without that. And then I got this battery out of the garage. These buzz coils here, they run on 6 volts, and you can run them on 12 volts, maybe for a short period of time, but it's best to avoid it if possible. So I found this little 6 volt. I do not know what its state of charge is, but I'm going to give it a shot, and if it doesn't work, we'll just figure something else out. Just went ahead and filled it up with some fuel here, and I also did some research for you guys. And according to a video I made of this thing in 2013, which was 6 years ago, At that point in time, I was saying that this is a 1914 United. So there you go. 1914, that makes this a 105-year-old engine. So that's pretty good. 105-year-old engine that probably hasn't run in, we'll say, 5 years, because I made my last video in 2013 of this particular engine, and given the fact that I probably took it to a few more shows and whatnot before I decided to park it for an extended period of time, we'll say it's been 5 years since the engine's run. I think at this point in time we're ready to try and fire this thing up, so I'm going to show you guys the startup sequence here. What we do is we actually start with the buzz coil disconnected. So of course what that means is that even if we turn the engine over, we're not going to get any spark. Then what we're going to try and attempt to do here is we're going to attempt to try and prime the carburetor. This here is your carburetor, or perhaps they may have referred to it as a mixer at this point in time. But either way, it's a pretty simple device. You've got a knob here for your mixture adjustment, and then down here you've got this little button. And what this button does is if you press it down, it acts as a choke. It blocks off some of the air and richens up your mixture. So what we want to try and do here is we want to try and prime the carburetor. Given the fact that this thing's been sitting for so long with a completely empty tank of gas, there is almost certainly no fuel in this carburetor. So what we really want to try and do is suck fuel from this tank up into the carburetor and give it a good prime so it'll be easier to start. Now the way that's done is pretty simple. It does require two hands, but I'll just demonstrate it on camera first and then set you guys on the tripod. But basically the idea of it is that this is your intake valve here. And so what we're going to do is it's an atmospheric intake valve, meaning there's no push rod or lifter or anything like that to actually open it. It just is drawn open by the vacuum created when the piston creates a larger volume in the cylinder. So as a result, it's pretty easy to operate by hand as well. And so what we can do here is we can actually just manually open it, and that kind of acts as like a compression release. And what that allows us to do is easily spin the engine around and get a lot of vacuum going on. And then we can just hold this knob open, and in the past that worked quite well to prime the engine. So that's what we're going to try and do. Well, as you saw there, that method of priming was not exactly working anywhere near as well as I had remembered it working. So I've gone ahead and done some off-camera diagnosis and basically come to the conclusion that, well, actually we have two problems, but originally it was just one problem. Now what the issue was is that this right here contains a check valve, and the purpose of that check valve is so that once you do get your carburetor primed, fuel will stay in that line. Now that's important because with a hit and miss engine, your engine's spinning, but it's not always hitting an intake stroke every other revolution, as it would be with a non-hit and miss throttle governed engine. So as a result, what would probably happen without that check valve is that all your fuel would just drain out, and then the engine would start trying to chug along again, and then it would probably suck enough fuel up to get a hit or two in, and then it would freewheel again some more, and then that cycle would just repeat itself. So the engine would always struggle to run. But thanks to that check valve, that shouldn't happen. Unfortunately, I've come to the conclusion that the check valve is stuck and not allowing any fuel to be drawn up through that line. Now in the meantime, it appears that the solder joint right at the tank here has also come loose. That's why I've got this catch pan underneath, but I don't think that was our original issue. That's just collateral damage. So what my game plan here is now is I'm going to take this tank off, get it out of the way, and get it drained out so we're not making a mess here. And then I'm just going to rig up some kind of a temporary fuel tank. No check valve or anything, but it should be enough just to do what we're trying to do here. Time for another attempt here. I think we should have some more success this time. We're going with the more get her done approach as opposed to the good looking approach, but gotta do what you gotta do. We want to get this thing running. So I'm going to set you guys back up on the tripod here, and we'll just repeat the priming process, see if it'll work for us this time, and then see what happens. there you go, we got it running. Seems like it's having a little bit of trouble running without the choke being on. And I remember that being an issue previously, back in the day when I had this thing running. It usually would continue to run on its own, but it would usually take 2 tries for it to keep hitting. Whereas this time it seemed like if I hit the choke every time it went to fire, it would be fine. But if I let it go on its own, as you just saw there, it would go for a little while. But then after maybe, I don't know, between 5 and 10 hits, then it stalls out. That could be due to the lack of the check valve. I'm not entirely sure. Or it could be just due to the fact that I got to tune it up a little bit. But in any case, we got it running. So I guess now I got myself a gas tank to fix. I'll have to resolder that fitting in there. And actually the epoxy came undone from one of the mounts here as well. Not sure if that's due to gasoline soaking into it, or possibly just due to maybe I didn't do the best job of epoxying it on in the first place. So I got that to do, and then maybe once we get a permanent fuel tank set back up on this thing, maybe we can try and tune it up, get it running a little bit better. So let me know what you guys thought about this video. I haven't shown one of these on my channel in quite some time, and I thought it would just be good to have something different for you guys. So give this video a like if you liked what you saw. Leave a comment if you're new to the channel and maybe not subscribed. Subscribe for more. And we will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, tubes.